In the fast-paced world of pop music, timing can make or break a single's success. In this video, we look at 8 singles that were released too early. Your Song by Rita Ora. Rita Ora's Your Song was meant to be her big return after years of label struggles. Released on May 26, 2017, it marked her first solo single under a new deal with Atlantic Records. The song, co-written with Ed Sheeran, was a radio-friendly pop track designed to reintroduce her to the mainstream. It performed decently, peaking at number 7 on the UK singles chart, but there was a major problem. It arrived a full 18 months before her sophomore album Phoenix, which was finally released in November 2018. The delay completely killed any momentum the song had going into the album. While Your Song was a solid hit in the UK, by the time Phoenix arrived, everybody had already moved on. It also didn't help that the album had a chaotic rollout, with 3 more singles, Anywhere, Girls, and Let Me Love You, released before the album dropped. It's easy to forget that the lead single Your Song was even part of this era. In the end, Phoenix flopped commercially. Had Rita Ora's team organized a cohesive rollout, releasing the album within months of Your Song, it could have had a more lasting impact. Instead, it felt disconnected from the album. Super Love by Tinashe. Tinashe's Super Love was supposed to be the start of her new era. Released on July 15, 2016, the song was a flirty 2000s-inspired R&B and pop song produced by The Dream. With its upbeat vibe and clear attempt at radio, it was positioned as the lead single for her long-awaited album Joyride. However, that album wouldn't see the light of day for another 21 months, a delay that completely tanked the song's relevance. By the time of its release, Super Love received mixed reactions. Some fans appreciated its playful summery energy with that Baywatch-inspired music video, while others felt it was too much of a commercial pivot from the moody alt R&B sound of her debut Aquarius. Regardless, the worst part was RCA Records failing to capitalize on it. Instead of quickly following up with the album, or at least the second single, Tinashe's rollout became a mess, leading to her dropping a string of disconnected songs like Company and Flame, and the album flopped, debuting at number 58 on the Billboard 200 with only 9,000 first-week sales. Tinashe herself later admitted that she was frustrated with how the rollout was handled, saying that she had little control with the album's direction. Now she's finally independent, releasing music she wants to make. LA Love by Fergie. By the time Fergie was ready to drop her sophomore album, fans had been waiting nearly a decade since her solo debut with The Duchess in 2006, which spawned hit after hit, including Big Girls Don't Cry and Glamorous. Expectations were high when she returned in late 2014 with LA Love, a DJ Mustard-produced club banger that had all the makings of a smash hit at the time. The song was released in September 2014. While it initially gained traction, the long gap between its release and the album hurt its longevity. The song peaked at number 27 on the Billboard Hot 100 without a full album to support it, and the hype faded quickly. The problem was that Double Duchess, her long-awaited second album, didn't arrive until September 2017. 3 years later. By that point, LA Love was ancient history. The delay left fans confused about Fergie's musical direction, and by the time the album finally dropped, the excitement had completely worn off. It didn't help that Double Duchess itself failed to capture the magic of her debut, leading to lackluster sales. If LA Love had been released closer to the album's launch, it might have had a better shot at keeping Fergie's momentum alive. Ultimately, the song is seen as a standalone, and Double Duchess never truly got off the ground. Unfortunately, the misstep led to Fergie stepping away from the mainstream pop scene, and Double Duchess is still her latest album. Pills and Potions by Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj had a massive amount of hype going into her third studio album, The Pink Print. After the success of Pink Friday and Pink Friday Roman Reloaded, fans were eager to see which direction she would take next, and Pills and Potions was supposed to set the tone. The song, released in May 2014, a vulnerable emotional track about forgiveness and heartbreak, considering her past first singles were high-energy anthems like Super Bass and Starships. It was a bold choice for her lead single. Despite being critically well received, the song struggled to make a major commercial commercial impact, peaking at number 24 on the Billboard Hot 100. Part of the problem was that the pink print didn't arrive until December 2014, a full 7 months later. By then, the song had lost momentum, and the album had to be carried by later singles like Anaconda and Only, which were much more in line with what the fans expected from Nicki. Had Pills and Potions been released closer to the album's drop, it could have played a more integral role in shaping the pink print era. It ended up feeling like an afterthought by the time the album was out. In hindsight, Anaconda should have been the lead single, as it was a viral sensation that took over pop culture. Pills and Potions wasn't attention-grabbing, and it was the wrong choice to kick off an era. Its early release meant that by the time the pink print was actually rolling out, the song was already forgotten. Take My Breath by The Weeknd. When The Weeknd released Take My Breath in August 2021, it was clear that he was setting the stage for something big. Coming off the massive success of After Hours, which dominated the charts with Blinding Lights and Save Your Tears, anticipation was high for his follow-up era. The song itself was a disco-infused banger that fit right into The Weeknd's aesthetic. However, despite a strong rollout, including an ad on the Olympics, the timing of the release ended up working against it. The album Dawn FM didn't arrive until January 2022. A full 5 months later. By the time the album was officially announced and dropped, the hype surrounding Take My Breath had already cooled. While it debuted respectively at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100, it didn't really become the smash lead single The Weeknd was used to delivering. If it had been released closer to the album, it might have felt like a bigger moment. Additionally, the rollout of Dawn FM itself was unusual. The album was announced just a week before the release, making it feel disconnected rather than the grand introduction it was meant to be. With no major second single to reignite the hype before the album dropped, it had a disappointing commercial performance. The Weeknd's rollout strategy worked flawlessly for After Hours, but in the case of Dawn FM, releasing Take My Breath too early ultimately hurt its long-term success. My Future by Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish's My Future was an introspective, atmospheric track that showcased a more mature side of her. Released in July 2020, the song had a melancholic vibe that reflected the uncertainty of the pandemic era. It was critically well received for the way it gradually transitioned from a slow ballad into an upbeat groove. However, while the song itself was solid, its position in the Happier Than Ever rollout proved to be a mistake. Billie's second album didn't drop until a full year later in July 2021. This meant that by the time Happier Than Ever arrived, My Future already felt like old news. Unlike her last huge single Bad Guy, the song failed to generate excitement. It debuted on number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100, but it quickly faded from the charts. By the time the album finally arrived, she had dropped a lot of singles like Therefore I Am, Your Power, and Lost Cause. My Future didn't really feel like part of the album, as it came too early in the rollout. While it remains a beautifully crafted song, its premature release made it feel disconnected from the album. Hotline Bling by Drake. Hotline Bling is one of Drake's most recognizable hits, a viral sensation that sparked endless classic memes. Released in July 2015, the song quickly became a massive success, peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Despite its dominance, it was released a full 8 months before his project Views, and didn't even make the album's standard track list. That meant that the song had no clear home, and by the time Views actually dropped in April 2016, Drake had already moved on to other singles like One Dance and Pop Style. Hotline Bling was tacked on as a bonus track. The problem wasn't just timing, it was strategy. Hotline Bling was originally released on Apple Music as an exclusive without a clear album rollout behind it. It wasn't until October 2015, when the music video dropped, that the song truly peaked in popularity. The gap between its release and the album's arrival meant that Hotline Bling didn't really feel part of the Views era. Despite its awkward timing, the song still became one of the defining hits of Drake's career, even managing to win 2 Grammys. Motivation by Normani. When Normani dropped Motivation in August 2019, it felt like the start of something huge. The song, co-written with Ariana Grande, was a throwback to early 2000s R&B and pop, and its accompanying music video was packed with iconic choreography and nostalgic nods to 2000s era pop stars like Beyonce and Ciara. For a brief moment, it seemed like Normani was about to become the next breakout solo star from Fifth Harmony, but the problem her album never followed. Motivation was released way too early, with no clear follow-up plan. While the song debuted on number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100, its momentum quickly faded because she didn't have an album or even a second single lined up. Instead of capitalizing on the song's success, she went quiet, leaving fans waiting for a full project that never materialized. The lack of an album rollout meant that by the time she finally released new singles like Wild Side, the excitement around her solo career was starting to cool off. By the time her debut album Dopamine finally arrived in 2024, her momentum had already fizzled out and the album flopped. Had Motivation been released just a few months before the actual album, Normani could have become a big superstar. The song had all the ingredients of a major breakthrough, but with no album to support it, the hype went nowhere. Which singles that were released too early did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.